Hello, University of Michigan. Welcome to our last week of school. So, in order to prepare you for kindergarten next year, I picked out a super awesome book. This book is titled The Name Jar. And I just want you to look at the cover of the book and think about some things that you notice. What do you notice? So Miss Waya will go. I notice a jar. I notice a girl. And I notice that there's something inside the glass jar. Those are the things that I notice. What do you notice? Those are all great notices. I wonder why there is a jar on the cover. I wonder what the girl is putting inside the jar. What do you wonder? Awesome. Now, University of Michigan, I chose this very special book because next year when you go to kindergarten, you're going to meet a lot of new people. And in our classroom, we are kind, we are bucket fillers, and we are learners. Something you might be learning next year are new names, right? Because you're going to have new kindergartners. There's going to be so many new kindergartners coming to school who we haven't met, right? So we'll be learning lots of new names. And this story is a story of kindness and understanding and what it means to be a good listener and to care for someone and their name and the beautiful meanings of our names. So, this is a personal favorite of Miss Sawaya's, and I'm so excited to share it with you, and I hope you can learn a lesson from it and carry it with you to kindergarten next year. All right, the name jar. So Miss Sawaya will be reading the book like this, and then I'll turn it around to show you the pictures. The name jar. And let's see. All right. The name jar. Written by Yangsuk Che. And I'm going to do my best to pronounce these as best I can. Let me know if I made the wrong pronunciation. The Through the school bus window, Eunhye looked out at the strange buildings and houses on the way to her new school. It was her first day, and she was both nervous and excited. Those are some feelings we felt on our first day of school. There she is, looking out the school bus window. Do you remember feeling those feelings on the first day of TK? I remember feeling nervous and excited. She fingered the little block of wood in her pocket and remembered leaving her grandmother at the airport in Korea. Her grandmother had wiped away Eunhye's tears and handed her an ink pad and a small red satin pouch. Your name is inside, she had said. My name? Eunhye had wondered. Again, she took out the red pouch to look at the wooden block with her name carved in it. As she ran her fingers along the grooves and ridges of the Korean characters, she pictured her grandmother's smile. There she is with her grandma. Looks like she has a little brother, her parents. There's Eunhye. There's the planes. They're about to go on a big trip. Now she's back on the school bus. Is that thing for show and tell? A boy asked Eunhye, surprising her. Eunhye looked up as more kids leaned over. No, it's mine, Eunhye answered, quickly putting the pouch back in her pocket. Are you new here? What's your name? A girl asked. Eunhye, said Eunhye. Oonay? The girl asked, scrunching up her face. Oonay, some kids chanted. No, no, Eunhye corrected. It's spelled Unhei. It's pronounced Eunhye. Oh, it's you, hey, the boy said. Like you, hey. What about hey you? Just then, the bus pulled up to the school and the doors opened and Hayde hurried inside to get off the bus. You hey, bye bye, the kids yelled as she left, and Hay felt herself blush. Oh my goodness. University of Michigan. Are these kids on the bus being bucket fillers or are they being bucket dippers? I think they're being bucket dippers. They're not being very kind. They're making fun of someone's name. That must make Eunhye feel sad. Someone made fun of Miss Sawaya's name? That would make me feel sad and embarrassed. I would not want to go to school. How would you feel if someone made fun of your name? Yeah, that's bucket dipping. Eunhye stood in the doorway of her new and noisy classroom. She was relieved that the kids on the bus had gone to other rooms, but her face still felt red. Aren't you going in? Asked a curly-haired boy with lots of dots on his face. You're the new girl, right? He asked cheerfully, and he nodded. And before she could walk away, the boy took her hand and pulled her through the door. That's sweet. That's bucket filling. Here's the new girl, he announced so loudly that the teacher almost dropped his glasses. The teacher thanked him and greeted Eunhye. Please welcome our newest student, he said to the class. She and her family just arrived from Korea last week. That's so amazing. Eunhye smiled broadly and tried not to show her nervousness. What's your name? Someone shouted. Eunhye pictured the kids on the bus. I haven't picked one yet, she told the class, but I'll let you know by next week. As the teacher showed her to her desk, she felt many round, curious eyes on her. Why doesn't she have a name? She heard someone whisper. Maybe she robbed a bank in Korea and needs a new identity, a boy replied. That's not very kind. On the bus home, nobody teased her, but Eunhye kept thinking about her name. How was school, Eunhye? Her mother asked when she walked in. Did you understand the teacher? Eunhye simply nodded. She unpacked her school bag and set the red pouch by a photograph of her grandma. I'm glad you are learning English well, her mother said. You must study hard, behave nicely, and get good grades to show that you are a good Korean. I will, replied Eunhye. But But I think I would like my own American name, she said quickly. Her mother looked at her with surprise. Why? Eunhye is a beautiful name. Your grandma and I went to a name master for it. But it's so hard to pronounce, Eunhye complained. I don't want to be different from all the American kids. You are different, Eunhye, her mother said. That's a good thing. Eunhye just wrinkled her nose. That makes Miss Sawaya sad to think that she didn't feel like she belonged and she needed a new name. That makes me so sad. You know, the bucket dippers probably made her feel that way. Later that day, Eunhye and her mother went grocery shopping in their new neighborhood. They passed Fadil's Falafel, Tony's Pizza, and Dot's Deli. A big graffiti painted garbage truck roared like a lion as it took off near the street. Nothing sounded or looked familiar until they got to Kim's Market. The sign was in both English and Korean. Her mother picked up cabbage to make kimchi, Korean-styled spicy pickled cabbage. Yum! Miss Y has eaten this before and it is so very delicious. I highly, highly recommend University of Michigan. You should give it a taste if you haven't. It's so good. And other vegetables and meat. She also found some seaweed, and his favorite for soup. It made Eunhye smile. Just because we've moved to America, her mother said, does not mean we stopped eating Korean food. That's like Miss Hawaii's family from Lebanon. We still eat so much Lebanese food, even though we live in America now. And I still eat a lot of French food, even though I live in America now, right? So super awesome. What types of foods do you eat at home? Yum. And I think I forgot to show you the pictures. Did I forget? Look at all these beautiful markets. So nice. I noticed so many things. As the checkout counter, oh, oops, I misread that. Let me fix my mistake. At the checkout counter, a friendly man smiled at Eunhye. Helping your mother with the shopping, he asked. Eunhye nodded. I'm Mr. Kim, he said. And what's your name? Eunhye, she answered. Ah, what a beautiful name, he said. Doesn't it mean grace? Eunhye nodded again. My mother and grandmother went to a name master for it, she told him. A graceful name for a graceful girl, Mr. Kim said as he put their groceries into bags. Welcome to the neighborhood, Eunhye. That evening, Eunhye stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Hi, my name is Amanda, she said cheerfully. Then she wrinkled her nose. Hi, my name is Laura. Maybe not. Her smile turned down. Nothing sounded right. Nothing felt right. I don't think American kids will like me, she worried as she began to brush her teeth. University of Michigan, I hope you never make fun of anyone's name. Ever. Not in kindergarten, and not in college, and not when you're an adult. Ever, ever, ever. Look at how this is making Eunhye feel. She has a very beautiful name. She does not need to change it. Her name is wonderful and it's a part of her. I know my class would never be such bucket dippers. And if you ever hear someone make fun of someone's name, no matter how old you are or how old they are, you tell them. That hurts feelings. That makes people feel sad. That is bucket dipping. Stop. Back to the story. The next morning, when Eunhye arrived at school, she found a glass jar on her desk with some pieces of paper in it. Eunhye took one out and read it out loud. Daisy. That's my baby sister's name. But she said you can use it if you want, said Cindy, who sat next to her. Eunhye took out the rest of the paper. Amelia, she read. I got it from a storybook, said Nate. She was smart and brave. Eunhye nodded. Wednesday? Yeah, you came here on a Wednesday, said Ralph. Thank you for your help. Smiles spread over Eunhye's face. Ralph quickly said, We'll put more names in. You can pick whatever you like, or pick them all, and you'll have the longest name in history. So I guess There's names inside this jar. At 3 o'clock, the bell rang for the end of the school day. Eunhae looked out the window and saw it was sprinkling. It's the same rain, she thought, but a different place. She watched other kids leaving in groups. Hey! A familiar voice called out to her, and Hay turned around to see the curly-haired boy again. I'm Joey, he said. And you? Do you have any name? And Hay thought for a moment. Well, I can show you, she said, and took out the small red patch. She pressed the wooden block onto the ink pad and then stamped it on a piece of paper. There's the red pouch. This is my name stamp, she said. My grandma gave it to me. In Korea, I can use it as a signature when I open a bank account or write a letter. And whenever I miss my grandma, I use it to fill a piece of paper. Want to try it? She offered the stamp to Joey, and he carefully inked the stamp and pressed it hard on the paper. The red characters gleamed against the whiteness. Wow, that's beautiful, Joey said. Can I keep the paper? Sure, Eunhae said. And then the two of them shared her umbrella as they walked to the school bus. Looks like Joey's being a bucket dipper. He's listening to her. He's asking her about her name and what it means. Right? And is he making fun of her? No, he's listening to her and he's hearing her awesome stories about her grandma in Korea and how important her name is. And they become friends. It seems like they're sharing an umbrella, so I would think they became friends. Every day, the jar got fuller with more names, and Eunhae read them all. She found a few names she liked: Miranda, Stella, Avery. They sounded interesting. I hope you choose the name I put in, Marco told her at snack time. I've put in 3 more, said Ralph. Madison, Park, and Lex. They're my favorite street names. Maybe you should close your eyes and draw a name, Rosie suggested. Ralph frowned. That's silly. What if she doesn't like the name she draws? Well, we don't get to choose our names when we were born, did we? Rosie argued. Everyone thought about this. When Eunhae got home from school that day, her little brother ran to give her a letter. It was from her grandma. She opened it quickly. It said, To my Eunhae, I hope you are enjoying your new school and new friends. Be sure to help your mother and your little brother. Bucket filling. Here, the moon is up, but there, the sun is up. No matter how far apart we are, and no matter how different America is from Korea, you'll always be my Eunhae. Your grandma forever. And he took out her wooden stamp and filled the paper with it. She thought for a long time in front of the bathroom mirror. On Saturday, Eunhae walked to Mr. Kim's store. Mr. Kim was helping a customer, but he looked up and greeted her. Hi, Eunhae. Hello, Mr. Kim, Eunhae responded. She felt as if she was back in her old neighborhood in Korea. Hey, said the customer, turning around. It was Joey. Your name is Eunhae? He asked her with his eyes open wide. Eunhae looked quickly at Mr. Kim and turned to Joey. She nodded slowly. Yes, It's pronounced Eunhae, and it means grace, Mr. Kim said. Eunhae, Joey said slowly, this time perfectly. It made Eunhae smile. I'll have it ready for you tomorrow, said Mr. Kim to Joey. Thank you, Mr. Kim. See you Monday, Eunhae, Joey said to her. He left before she could ask him why he was at the store. I wonder why he was at the store. What do you think? On Monday, Eunhae came to class early to look at the names one last time. But the jar wasn't on her desk. Instead, there was just a single piece of paper. Paper with a name on it. Eunhae slipped it in her pocket. Where's your name jar? Ralph asked as soon as he saw it was gone. I don't know, Eunhae said. It wasn't on the teacher's desk or on any other desk, and it wasn't on the counters or any of the shelves. And other kids arrived. They helped look. Soon the teacher came in and Ralph shouted at him, the name jar is gone! The jar with all the names in it! Gone? The teacher replied. With a look of concern, he asked Eunhae, did you get a chance to read all the names? Eunhae nodded. She took a breath. I'm ready to introduce myself. There they are, looking all around the classroom for it. I wonder how she's going to introduce herself. Eunhae wrote her name in both English and Korean on the chalkboard. I like the beautiful names and funny names you thought for me, she told the class. But I realized that I like my name best. So I chose it again. Korean names mean something. Eunhae means grace. Grace! Grace Eunhae, shouted Ralph. Everyone tried to say it. Eunhae said her name again slowly and clearly. Soon, kids began to say it better. Even the teacher. They applauded Eunhae's decision. I was named after a flower, Rosie whispered to Eunhae. Lots of American names have meanings too, the teacher reminded everyone. When the class was dismissed, Eunhae heard her new friend say goodbye. Bye, Eunhae. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, Eunhae. Eunhae said goodbye and then looked around for Joey, but he was already gone. I'm so happy that Eunhae chose her name. It is so beautiful. And the class, they were all being bucket fillers. They listened to how to pronounce her name, they practiced it, and they got it right. Does your name mean anything? Apparently, my first name means the crowned one. Queen Miss Sawaya. All right, moving on. Eunhae, come downstairs, Mother called up to Eunhae. Your friend's here. Eunhae rushed down to see who she meant. There stood Joey, and in his arms was the name jar. Where did you find it? Asked Eunhae breathlessly. Joey looked embarrassed. Well, I took it. But only because I wanted you to keep your own name. And you did. He reached in and pulled out the names. Do you want to keep them? He asked. Thank you. I'll keep them as a souvenir, Eunhae said happily. Then she pulled out the piece of paper from her pocket. Do you want this back? Joey grinned. You can keep it. I'll return the name jar to the class. Maybe you could put some Korean nicknames in it for us. Names with good meanings. I could do that, agreed Eunhae. I've already got a Korean nickname, Joey said. Mr. Kim helped me choose it. Carefully, he pulled a small silver felt pouch from his pocket. Then he took out a dark wooden stamp with beautiful Korean characters carved sharply into it. He pressed it onto the ink pad and then on the piece of paper next to her name. Chinku, replied Eunhae. That means friend. And Chinku smiled back. The end. Oh, University of Michigan, I hope you learned a lot from that story. I hope you learned to be kind and to be caring and to be mindful. You know, this story means a lot to Miss Sawaya because Miss Sawaya has family members who came from another country. And when they came to America from another country, they too changed their names because some of their friends at school were not being nice and were making fun of their names. And that's very bucket dipping. And that makes Miss Sawaya feel sad that they felt the need to do that when their names are so wonderful and beautiful. So next year, when you start kindergarten and you learn all these new names, I hope you remember this story. And I hope you remember how each name is unique and each name has a meaning and each name is wonderful, just like each of you are wonderful in your own special ways. All right, University of Michigan, I love you. I hope you carry this story with you forever. And don't forget to come visit me when you're in kindergarten. Don't make Miss Sawaya so sad. Mwah. I love you. I'm so proud of you. You are truly, truly kind friends. Goodbye, University of Michigan. Happy summer.